Hi, good to see you all through this video. I'm already seeing a number of postings and a lot of emails back and forth. So I just thought I'll use this time to get a quick overview of the program so that when we meet on January 25th, this can be a very fruitful day. First of all, in fact, last week my wife looked at my calendar and she said, "You told me that you have a class on the 25th of January, but you are flying out of Indianapolis." I said, "What do you mean by that? I'm not flying out, I'm teaching a class." "No, your calendar is booked for a British Airways flight." And then I asked what it is going on, and then we looked at, she said, "You are flying BA 9812. Oh my God, I said, "No, that's not a British Airways flight. That's one of the PhD classes, BA 9812. So if you are getting confused, don't worry, everybody is. So let me walk you through why we are here for this particular class. In fact, the whole idea of an EDBA, you understand that this is a new genre of executives that we are developing. It's not an EMBA, it's not a PhD, it's not an MBA. You are getting ready for a career that is unique. You can contribute to a creation of a new type of scholarship, what we call applied scholarship or translational scholarship. You also will be instrumental in bringing great ideas from industry to research field so that academics like me and my fellow colleagues can learn from you what are some big issues that are facing our executives and what are challenges that we need to solve for tomorrow. So thank you very much for signing in. And let me walk you through the broad sketch of the program goals and then what we are trying to accomplish in this particular course. Now, from the program, we want you to develop a capability that you can demonstrate a knowledge of theoretically grounded and methodologically sound research skills. Now, why is it necessary? So that you can provide the foundation for impactful, practice-focused research. Now, what does this mean for you? You need to understand good theoretical research. You need to be able to read and understand, but we are not trying to get you to another theoretician in the sense we are not expecting you to write for an academic journal, but we are hoping that you can be partners with academics, driving academic articles to be much more practice-focused. And perhaps you will be spearheading on your own, in your organization, the evidence-based management so that we can bring research into action. So from the course objective, we are looking at a course on innovation, not that each of you will be spearheading innovation within your own organization. In some way, we all do. Irrespective of the title that you hold, we all drive innovation in our organization. And I want you to use this as an example of a field, an interdisciplinary field, to connect ideas from multiple domains. So you should be able to get an overview of contemporary research on innovation, and you should be able to synthesize relevant theory and past research on a particular business issue. Now, how do you demonstrate that? You can explain the concepts. You can identify one or new concepts that your organization can explore, and you can differentiate between what's an opinion and what's an evidence-based idea. Because we need a genre of people who can differentiate between the fly in the sky type of an idea, but grounded, valuable ideas that we can invest in, organizations can invest in. So that's our number one focus. Number two, we also want you to develop method skills, quantitative and qualitative, that you can apply for your research. Now, what do we mean by that? Do we want you to become experts on statistical methods? No. We want you to understand methodology. We also want you to understand what is possible. Now, maybe some of you will be phenomenal experts in statistics, but for most of you, it will be knowing what sort of methodology you can develop and you can apply for addressing the type of question that you are trying to address. And that means you know, for example, for a particular question that has a lot of endogeneity, you cannot use a simple OLS regression. You have to go for a 2SLS regression. Now you have to understand what is 2SLS and who you can call on for help to make that happen. So to some extent, we want to introduce to you the different methodologies so that you get a mastery of what is possible but you also know where to get potential help to apply some of those statistical skill sets. Now, from this course, we are going to walk through a number of academic research. So looking at some different research papers, you can develop a meaningful concept of what are some possible research frameworks. At least you should be able to develop 3 different theoretical frameworks from the research that you are going to read. And finally, you have to demonstrate the ability to disseminate evidence-based management practice. And to that extent, you develop your good communicating skills. Now, most of our PhDs, we focus a lot on writing theoretical articles. We drill them to write for conferences. We drill them to write for very, very strong academic articles. Now, if you can do that, well and good. But what we are hoping for is you can write a good practice-oriented article. More than the writing skills, you are also able to communicate powerfully in an oral, to a group of managers that you will be coming across. You can take an idea and get it across to them. You can bring good research in a timely manner to people who matter. That's the whole objective of it. From that sense, we're going to spend a lot of time understanding some of the writings as well as how to communicate your own ideas to a fellow group of executives. Okay, so that's a broad set of objective. In order to accomplish that, I'm going to use these books. Now you've already signed up for one of these 3 books. Now, why am I using these books? Books are a powerful vehicle to translate practice ideas, powerful vehicles for disseminate practical insights. Now, all these 3 books are 3 different genres. Now, we are going to start with Quirky, written by Professor Melissa Schilling from New York University. And the second one is Leap by Howard Yu, a professor in IMD, Switzerland. And the third one is written by a journalist, Mapping Innovation, by Greg Settle. In fact, you will meet him in person as well. Since you have signed up for one of the books, you are going to blog about the book until a particular date. And once the blogging time is over, the rest of the class will join in the discussion. So if you are a blogger, you are going to provide what are some interesting ideas from the book. What does the book tell you about the issues that matter to you? And what sort of inspiration or ideas that the book springs in you to develop and further? Can you see yourself writing a book like this? Okay, so that's the content of your blog. And after you blog, we are going to have some discussion. The rest of the class will bump in. In fact, what I have advised in the syllabus is at least you are able to respond to 2 different bloggers. So 2 different bloggers, and you provide your comment. Maybe you can challenge them on the assumptions that they are making, or ask them some questions so that they can respond. So we have a week of discussion time, and then finally we will meet with the author. For example, for the Quirky, we have blogging till January 25th, and then we will discuss January 28th to the February 5th. So that's about a week, and then we'll meet Melissa via WebEx on February 6th, the WebEx class on the February 6th night. Okay, so that's the program, and the same will go for the other 2 books. Okay, so the idea for you is taking a big chunk of idea and how to get it through. And I'm hoping at least half of our class at some point in time will have your own books. Okay, and then we have, for the first residency, I'm going to walk you through a set of academic articles on innovation. Now, you already have signed up for one of these 6 articles. Now, the article for which you have signed up, you are going to go into a deep dive and create what I call as article review. For the other articles, you are going to read through. So by the time you are here on January 25th, you have created an article review of one of these 6 articles, and you have read through the others. Given your time, you might not have a deep dive for all the articles, but I want you at least able to browse it through so that you are not stranger when the article is being discussed. Okay. Now, how do you create an article review? Now, I want to walk you through 3 phases of how to take research. Okay. At the first cut in our residency 1, I'm going to focus on what I call as internal analysis. In the sense, read the paper for what it is. Okay, I'll shortly introduce you to the diamond model. We're going to look at how do we look at the different aspects of the paper and understand the research. Okay, and then when we go to the residency 2, I want to take you one step further and ask, how does this idea apply? What I call as application analysis. And a lot of it is about translational scholarship or integration or application. Now for this particular one, I have taken about 10 of the Harvard Business Review articles. So I've taken from 1995 to 2016 landmark articles that have been published on the topic of innovation. So we're going to walk through these articles and then ask ourselves, how has this idea been applied? Now, anytime you read an application idea, you have to ask yourself, what is the legitimate source for the article? Okay? If in the residency 1 we focused on how internal validity of the article, in the residencies 2 we are going to ask, what is the validity of the article to apply? So a lot of our focus is going to be, is this idea valid? How good can this be applied? And what is the author's legitimacy to provide this idea to you? Okay, that's our residency 2. And then when I take you to residency 3, I want to develop a competency in providing, whenever you read an article, you should have a grasp of what's the whole picture of this contributor. For example, you are reading an article by J.P. Eggers. In fact, in residency 1, you will go through an article where he looks at the LCD industry and talks about how innovation happens. In fact, I want you to, when you come to residency 3, you should be able to take the author's article and then say, okay, this is J.P. Eggers. What else has he published? What is his stream of work? What is his lifetime contribution, and how does this work? For example, if you read a work like Clayton Christensen, Disruptive Innovation, you sort of see how the idea has developed over the years and what sort of contribution has he made. So that's the focus that we are going to take. The goal for me is, at the end of residency 3, you're also able to articulate a vision for yourself. Now, this will be the last residency period for you as a group. After this semester, you're going to be on your own. Before you go on your own, I want you to develop, what is your research statement or what is your vision statement? Given the new EDBA portfolio of skills that you have acquired, what are you going to do with that? So cast yourself a vision for the next 10 years. And is it going to be in academics? Is it going to be in your own business? Is it going to be in consulting? So that's the type of thinking that I want you to develop. In fact, I've given you more instructions in the syllabus. So as we go along, you will get it. So by the time we finish, I want you to be able to go all through the spectrum. We're going to go in stages 1, 2, 3. But anytime when you finish, when you walk out of this program, you should be able to, when you read an article, you should be able to ask and apply all these 3 ideas to any article for that matter. Okay? Now, for writing an article review, I've given you a 4-part framework. 1, identify the key ideas. 2, evaluate the idea. And 3, apply the idea to your world of practice. And 4, extend the idea to new challenges. So a simple 4-part framework for you to think through. Now, anytime you read an article, you have to understand what are the interesting insights. Is this, what is the core idea? What are the core assumptions? So think of these questions. Now, I'm asking you to think about a diamond model here. In fact, I have found it personally very helpful. Anytime you want to articulate your research, you should be able to take a reader through these 5 questions. Okay? Now, how you arrive at that may be very different. Okay? But you should be able to address these 5 questions. Anytime you want to talk about your research, start the number 1 question or number 1 point to begin is, what is the research question? Is it clear? Is this research question, can you articulate your research question in a simple, concise way so that people understand what is the puzzle that you are solving? Okay? The moment you put your research question, you should also be able to say, what is this? Why is it relevant? Now, if you're going to say X leads to Y, now you should be able to say, why has it not been done before? Or what has been done before? So anytime you're thinking about a research, you should ask yourself, what do we know? what we don't know, what is the particular aspect of what we don't know I'm going to focus, and why it is relevant. So that's the relevance part of it. There you can ask a lot of interesting questions and invest a lot of your time, but if it is not a relevant and a critical question, you are wasting your time. Okay, so that's the part that you should come through. And third, you should also identify, okay, here is a relevant question. What is my contribution? If my answer comes out well, how would it contribute or advance the theory or advance the practice? So what is the intended contribution, or at the end of your research, what is my contribution? So that part must be clear. Then you have the question of, in order to answer the question, what sort of theoretical tools you have. Now, you have a great question, but if you don't have interesting theoretical insights, then you have to ask yourself, how am I going to answer this question? Is a grounded theory an answer? Or maybe I should really look into deep dive and find out what sort of theoretical insights can I use in order to advance the field. Now, why do we need theory? Theory is, when you look at any phenomena, it's so complex. Theory allows you to focus what is relevant. Theory allows you to define the picture. Once you define the picture, everything is background. Okay? And the last one, but not the least, is what sort of data do you have to test and validate your propositions. So sometimes that might be your starting point. You might come in and say, hey, I got this 2 decades of data from my organization. I have this fantastic data. Now, what questions can I ask? So think about it. These 5 corners, you can start from any corner. You don't need to start from your research question. You can start from any corner. Perhaps you are greatly interested in a particular theoretical insight. You might be interested in, hey, I love this resource-based view. Now, what can I do with that? Or you might say, I love this institutional theory. I hope one of you is not going to tell me that. But there is possible that many of our scholars are driven by theoretical inquisitiveness. Okay? It doesn't matter which corner you want to start, but you should be able to articulate all the 5 at the end of your research. Now, I want you to look at each of the research paper from this. Is the research question clear? What sort of theory is he using? What sort of data is he using? Is the question relevant? What sort of contribution is he making? So each of these corners allows you to deep dive into the article that you are reading. So that gives you a good idea to stretch it. Now, what can you learn from it? One is critique an article and then tell the author this is good or bad. The other point, what we are really looking at is, what can you learn? By reading the different articles, you are sort of picking up, that's an interesting way to ask a research question. Or that's an interesting theory that I can apply. Or that's an interesting methodology that I can use. Okay? So these are some things that I expect that you can bring out of your article review. Okay? So by the end of the first residency, you should have a mastery of how to read an academic article. Academic articles, for you as an executive, it's not an easy one to read. Now, if you are an EMBA, I would tell you, just read the first 2 pages and read the last 2 pages. Conclusion and the introduction, that should be enough. But you are an EDBA, a genre that we expect you to understand what academic research is, and take it and apply it and build a good practice and sound practical insights out of that research. Okay? And then when we go on to residency 2, it will be much more easier. We're going to look at Harvard Business Review articles, and there I'm going to ask you, what is the theory behind it? What is the research behind it? Now, whenever you read a practice article, you have to ask, what drives this idea? What is the basis of this idea that this practice insight is coming from? Can I trust it? Okay, so that's the level that we look at for our residency 2. And then when we go to residency 3, I want you to look at it as a full profile of an academic. In fact, I'm going to offer you myself as a guinea pig, walk you through my own research, and ask yourself, okay, how do you build a body of work over a period of time? And that should give you an idea how you can develop your own work. So that's our residency 3. Okay. Now, BA 9812, you do not have to write your own research paper. Okay, you are already writing your R3, and then subsequently you will be going on to your thesis. So I'm not going to ask you to write a separate research paper for this course. But we are going to use the concepts that you are learning here and apply it to your R3. Okay, in fact, Friday our class, and then Saturday TL is going to walk you through your research paper. So it should give you a good deep dive to get into your own research. So whatever we are learning on Friday, you should be able to apply to your research paper, so that when that is due in the early summer, you can do a credible work on that research paper. Okay, and finally, this is where we are going to end. I'm asking you to develop your research statement, or what I call as the vision statement. Now that you have come into the program, you have been privileged to be one of these executive doctoral. Another 2 years, maybe a year from now or 2 years from now, you would be an executive doctor. Now, what do you want to do with that? What is the focus of your thought leadership going to be? What would be the body of research that you would like to be identified with? Imagine 10 years from now, you are in front of an audience, you are giving your TEDx talk. What would be the theme of the TEDx talk? Okay? And then when you are writing your vision statement, it's also nice to blend it to your past. Don't throw away the past. You are here because of your past. You are here because of your executive experience. So link it to your executive experience. What got you interested in this research? What sort of experiences that you have, you can bring to this table? Okay? And then you ask yourself for the future, where do you want to contribute? And where do you want to make an impact? And why do you think this research is important within your industry? So as you think about your dissertation topic, as you think about your stream of work, you ask yourself what sort of challenges, problems that your research will address over the next few years. Okay? So that's a part of the vision statement. Now, the vision statement is not like a straitjacket that it is going to give you only the things that you have to do and then you cannot do anything else. Research statement will evolve over time, but this is a nice work to start with. So by the time of we sign off from the course end of April, I want it to go out with a well-articulated research statement, and you will have enough expertise that you can glean through the course by the end of the course. This is my hope, that you will think different and you will act different by the time we finish this. Okay, that's all from my end. If there is any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you on January 25th, Friday morning at 8 o'clock. The book reviews are due before that, and make sure that everything is in on time. And any questions, please drop me an email. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to see you January 25th, 8 a.m. Goodbye for now.